Good morning, Crap to Crane. Today I am going to do something a little bit different because I've been having a few issues with a pool pump. So I have a Davey pump installed and I have an Astral pump, which was the old pump I took out maybe 18 months ago. So the Davey pump started leaking maybe a week ago. So the Astral pump had been in since like 2017 and that failed obviously 18 months ago. So I kept the old Astral pump because I thought, I might overhaul it and repair it and see what's going on. And at the time I bought a Davey to replace it because I believe the Davey was another brand to try. Let's go with that. So when I've taken this one apart, I have found some things that I didn't like. So when the mechanical seal leaked, it leaked into the housing or the front of the electric motor on the cover and caused quite a bit of corrosion around the cover, around the back of the motor here. And also when I tried to get the cooling fan off the back of the motor, it's a push-on fit and it's made out of plastic, so I put a bit of force on this just to lever it off equally on both sides, and due to the age this broke, so that rendered the fan useless. So so this one's now destined for the bin, unfortunately. So one of the things that I did like about this pump was the mechanical seal, right? So as you can see in here, the stationary face is in the bottom and the rotary face is on the back of the impeller. So that relies on the fit between the mechanical seal cartridge and the back of the impeller here. So that relies on that to drive. On the Davey pump, it's the other way around. And this is the mechanical seal out of the Davey pump. So this, on the Davey pump, which is the cartridge, sits in the cover. And the seal on this mechanical seal relies on this not detaching from the back plate, which is a rubber ring around the outside of it to seal it into the housing. So the cartridge is stationary and the rotary, the face is on the Davey, is embedded in the back of there like that. So that seals and that's all good, right? So the Davey also has a fan on the back that has a nut holding it on, has a circlip holding it on and a keyway. And on the impeller, so the Davey pump, the impeller has a lock nut in here, and the Astral pump has a screw-on impeller. So, and you always undo the impeller in the direction of rotation. So I'm not sure if you can see in there, but this impeller rotates this way because centrifugal force, water in, water out. So as the centrifugal force goes in, the motor turning, it forces the water out, and then you determine that you can play around with the discharge pressure by trimming the tips of the impellers here. Not the best way to do it, but it doesn't have as much a bigger impact on the efficiency of the pump if you trim the tips of the impellers. If you trim the whole outside diameter, then you can end up with recirculation inside the pump, and that all just gets a bit messy. So the design of the mechanical seal on the Astral pump, in my opinion, is better than the one on the Davey pump. So if the Davey pump had the same mechanical seal setup as the Astral pump, it would be better and more reliable. The impeller on the Davey pump has a nut on the end and is keyed onto the shaft. So you just undo the nut and then you can just pry it off and it comes off. This one, you have the possibility of it chipping or breaking, and you have to take the motor fan off to be able to pair of mole grips on the back of the motor to enable you to get this undone. So I'm not sure if you can see me screwing that on there like that. So that's how it goes on, and it tightens up. Self-tightening to a point. So anyway, so what I've done is and also the Davey pump has two of these plates. So it has a plate that goes on the front here, and then it has another plate behind, sandwiching it with another drain. So the water can't get to the motor and rot away the cover like this one has. So it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. The Astral was more reliable, significantly more expensive, but in my opinion, the Davey is a better constructed pump with a weaker mechanical seal. So if I can figure out how to change the Davey pump mechanical seal design to incorporate this one, which goes on the back of the impeller, and the stationary to go into the stationary go into the cover, and from what I've seen right now, right, that can work, because this here fitted in to the cover of the Davey pump. So it's just a case of getting this to work with the impeller. So it's just a bit of a random change of topic. Also, the wearing, which determines the efficiency of the pump, allows the recirculation back to suction from discharge. The Astral pump has a built-in wearing, so the wear between here and here determines the efficiency of the pump, usually around 12 to 15 thousandths of an inch. That's what the normal is. On the Davey pump, it has an independent wearing, and on the pump that I put back in, the wearing had come loose and was spinning inside the cover. So that was not ideal either. So I might have to look at a better way of doing that. I might machine it so and put an insert in, but I've got to work that out yet. Don't know what I'm going to do with that. So my background is pumps, working in the industry for many moons, so I'd like to think I've got a good idea of what's going on. So don't try and file these or emery cloth these faces to make them better. The fine stone and oil stone, as long as it's perfectly flat, gives you half a chance. But for me, like $25 to buy a complete mechanical seal for either pump, I can't see the reason why you would go to the trouble of taking it all apart, filing that, and then putting it all back together again. These are ceramics. You won't do much with ceramics. So if they're not scored or not cracked and damaged, I wouldn't worry about that. That's my own personal opinion. These are carbon or silicon. So there you go. So just something a little bit random, a little bit different. So this one's destined for the bin now because just too much of it doesn't work. I might keep the impeller because I might be able to figure something out with that, but I doubt it. So I bought another Davey now, and I'm going to look at modifying that. And those of you who know me from my background and working with me in the past, Marty Mods, right? So that's where we're at. So I'm trying to improve the reliability, not the efficiency, because I don't want the pump any more efficient. I just want it more reliable. So if I can combine the two best features of both these pumps, we should be on to a winner. Thank you very much indeed for subscribing. Thank you very much indeed for comments. Just something a little bit different out of MG land, and I haven't been too well this week, so I haven't done much on the MG at all. So this is just something I was doing between yesterday and today. All right, so I'll speak to you soon, and yeah, bye for now.